Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. This is your host, Ryan Kennedy. And today's episode is a recording from a live Instagram interview I did with my dear friend, Justin Davis. We have partnered up to collaborate on an upcoming transformational breathwork class. As many of you know, I host online breathwork classes of this nature pretty much monthly. And Justin participated in my January class. And he had such a life-changing experience. He wanted to share this with his community. He has an amazing audience for his podcast, Who Can Relate. Highly recommend you check that out. And so we teamed up on this event to bring together his community, my community, and just make an epic breathwork experience. And as part of this, we did a live Instagram video talking about the breathwork, answering questions, going through what people can expect. And I found it to be extremely valuable insights for anyone who is listening to this, who has been thinking about trying breath work, or you're curious about it and you're not really sure what it's all about, what it entails, what type of benefits it could bring you, what type of risks there are, which just so you know, there's virtually no risk, as we discussed in this interview. And so because of that, I decided I wanted to share this recording on the podcast, because it really is just an excellent overview of what breathwork is, how it can change your life, how it can benefit you, and how my classes go, the structure of my classes, a lot of the details that people are unsure about when it comes to signing up and registering. So with that intro, I am going to play the interview. And there's a couple areas that, because we were on video, may not translate quite perfectly here on audio, but you're still going to get a ton of value from this. And I highly, highly recommend, if this sounds interesting to you, I recommend you check out the breathwork class. You can learn more. It is, the class is coming up soon, so there's still time to register. And you could go to ryankennedyhealth.com/breathwork-JD. And the link to that webpage will also be in the show notes below this episode. With that intro, please enjoy the episode with myself and my dear brother, Justin Davis.
Sir,
Justin, my man.
the legend himself. How are you, brother?
Dude, I'm on top of the freaking world, bro.
Love to hear it. Okay, so everyone, if you don't know who this beautiful human being is, his name is Ryan Kennedy. I had him on Who Can Relate the first season. Can't remember the episode, but we talked about a lot of things, health and migraines and 2:30 crashes, and specifically breathwork class. I was a little late to the party with the breathwork class, but I got mine in. I think was it last month now, I want to say?
Yeah, you came to my January class just, about a month ago.
Yeah, so that class, just really quick for everybody, completely, first class, by the way, first breathwork class. I had no idea what to expect. And I had a couple people text me like, what the hell's a breathwork class? And what do we just sit there and breathe? Essentially, but there's way more to it. And my first class completely blew me away. I mean, I had a out-of-body experience, to say the least. Moved with tears, emotion, healing, you name it. And I just was like, we have to figure out a way to get this into people's lives one way or another. And so we created Thursday's class at 5:30. I'm done talking. Ryan, give us a little spiel again on breathwork and kind of maybe how you got started with it.
The feeling of wanting to spread this to more people is something I cannot agree with more, Justin. So a little background, I did my first holotropic breathwork class about 3 years back. And I had done a bunch of breathwork, dude. I had done Wim Hof breathing. I had done Kundalini yoga, a lot of pranayama breathing. So I was very familiar with this concept of controlled breathing mechanics to elicit certain states and responses in the body. Mm-hmm. So I show up to this class. I'm at a health symposium, and it says transformational breathwork. I'm like, cool. Gonna go breathe. I'm all for breathwork, baby.
Right.
And so I show up to this class, ready to give it my all. And I came to learn quite quickly, this was a type of breathwork I had never been exposed to before. And so I go through the class. And it is one of the most profound experiences of my entire life. And I don't say that lightly. It was more impactful than plant medicine ceremonies I had done. It was more impactful than any therapy I had done. It completely opened up my heart. It quelled the ego, and it allowed me to have this deep, deep emotional healing experience and this complete physical release and just pent up release of trauma and hardship and resentment and anger and all sorts of these emotions that we actually hold in our bodies. It just, I let it all out, dude. And after this class, Justin, I felt just feeling fantastic, man. And so that started the journey. I'm like, I got to learn more about what just happened to me. Like, I have to learn how this works in the body, how I can share this practice with others, because there's so much hurt and so much pain and so much hardship in our world today. And so I went through a journey where I went through a number of, certification programs, online courses, workshops, and learned not only how to do this breath work for myself, but how to actually guide these classes for my own patients. You know this, Justin, but I'm not some breathwork, guru. I'm actually a health practitioner and run a functional medicine practice and consult with patients. And so I was seeing this as an ideal modality to couple with a lot of the physical things I work on with nutrition and sleep and gut health and hormones and all these different physical practices that help your biology. This was really tapping in to the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual healing that goes hand in hand with the physical healing I was doing already. And so I started doing it with patients one-on-one, and then I started leading these classes locally in small groups and started doing them at retreats and wellness types of events that I was going to. And man, the feedback I was getting from my students, Justin, was just unbelievable. I mean, they were just having these experiences where they would just process loss of loved ones. They would actually interact with people who have passed on. They'd have these profound breakthroughs in really forgiving people who have wronged them in their life, because so much of us hold on to that anger and resentment, whether it's towards a parent who did us wrong, a sibling, a friend who fucked us over, someone that in our lives that we trusted, that we cared about, that did us wrong, and it's hard to let that shit go, dude. Totally. And this breath work allows you just to open up your heart and to just let it out. And it's, to this day, one of my all-time favorite modalities, because the truth is, bro, you don't need anything. You don't have to buy some supplements or biohacking technologies or go to some retreat center. You literally lay on the floor and you just breathe. And that's a beautiful thing when the barrier of entry is so low and it's so accessible to literally everyone. I'm like, I got to scream this from the freaking mountaintops, man. I got to get this out to more people. So I started leading these online classes because obviously everything happened in 2020 where in-person classes were off the table, especially when we got a group of people in a small room all breathing together. That wasn't too welcomed back in April of 2020. And so I started doing them on Zoom. And I was like, man, I don't know if this is going to be the same experience, because I really pick up on the energy of the room. And all the energy of everyone else participating is really all floating around. But what I found is, due to the quantum connection that we have in this planet, even in these Zoom experiences, I could feel the energy and I could feel the experience of the people participating. And I started just to get flooded with messages and feedback from students after these classes of like, oh my God, Ryan, I thought I was going to show up to this class, just lie on the floor, maybe meditate, maybe fall asleep, I didn't know. And it turned out to be one of the most profound experiences of my entire life. And, I was brought to tears reading some of these emails and messages from my students who were talking about how it's really helped them turn a corner in a really tough, dark time in their lives. And so since then, I've been doing them pretty much monthly online. And so I'm super stoked to be collaborating with you on this one, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. And you were taking a lot of words out of what I was thinking. And one of them was, I think is it like 7 or 10 years in therapy? It could be in one session, depending on how open you become. Is it 7 or 10 years? It's a lot nonetheless.
Well, that's what people would tell me, and that's
Yeah.
was my experience. Was it felt like you had done years and years of talk therapy
Yeah.
in 1 hour without having to say a word. Like that's
Yeah.
how the experience feels, and that you
For
just
sure.
let go of so much stuff.
For sure.
And it's hard to explain the profound nature of this practice in words. You have to really experience it
Totally.
firsthand.
I know.
You know, it's one of those things.
I know. I was like, I sent out so many messages yesterday to a lot of my friends and my close people, and I'm like, I want to give you more of just like what to expect, but then I also want you to have just like a what's to come kind of thing. You know, and everyone has their own experience.
Yep.
But it is really difficult. I ended up sending a couple of voice notes to a few people because I couldn't text it all. But it is really difficult to explain. It's one of those things you have to participate. And I know we have a ton of people signing up. I will give my experience for
Yeah,
everyone.
please do.
And I don't want to freak anybody out. This was my personal experience, and I was totally okay with it. So I think the class was about an hour long.
So the active breathing is only about 25 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was probably like the 15, maybe 20-minute mark where, again, I always hesitate telling this story. I don't want to freak people out, but okay, this is just me. So where I'm lying down, and you know, your left hand is on your heart and your right hand is on your stomach. Okay. And so we're doing these like exhale from the belly. You guys can't really see it. And then you exhale. Ryan will do it way better than me. And then one big one. So we're going on and on and on and on, right? And so about 20 minutes in, I start to feel really heavy on my body, like as if like there was a ton, literally TON, on my body, where I felt in a sense like sleep paralysis, kind of paralyzed, so to speak.
Yep.
Didn't freak out. I was like, first of all, I'm lying down. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
But I was just like, wow, like this is unbelievable. My hands felt extremely heavy to where I couldn't even do this, right? Quads starting to tighten up, legs starting to tighten up, and I'm just continue to breathe. Next thing I know, I feel this overwhelming wave of emotion coming, and I'm like, okay, you know what? And I had a split second where I was like, this is going to be bigger than I ever thought. I got to let it out. I swear, and these are the conversations in my head. I'm like, I have to let this shit out because it's obviously buried deep for a reason, and here it goes. And when I say I let it out, this was probably the second hardest cry I think I've ever had in my life. The first was when my daughter was born, and then this, and then my wedding. Okay, that's how significant this was. So I'm crying hysterically, like, you know, trying to get my breath, and I had to stop the breathing exercise just to get as much as I could, as much air and oxygen. And yeah. I am just like weeping and sobbing. And here's the kicker. I have no idea why. I'm trying to figure out, like, is it a person? Is it a noun? Person, place, thing? Was it a certain experience? Was it a trigger? And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I also couldn't stop crying, and I just kept continuing to let it out. And I remember you had a great opening to the class, and you said, some people may be overwhelmed with the emotion, the feeling that they get, whether it's, in my case, the sleep paralysis, paralyzing feeling. But worst case scenario, it's okay. Like, you're lying down, even if you think you're going to pass out, you're lying down. It's okay. That's where you want to pass out, so to speak. And I had these thoughts in my head, like, it's okay. It's a safe space. There's nothing that's going to happen that's going to put me in harm's way unless we got robbed. Because I knew there was a second I was like, if someone came in here, Shay and I'd be screwed because there's no way now I could do anything. It was a safe space. And I just remember feeling like, this is my experience. This is what is meant for right now. And I wrote it out. And this whole sleep paralysis, paralyzing feeling, for lack of a better term, I would say lasted about a good 20 minutes, which sounds like a really long time to have that. But it wasn't that sleep paralysis where you're hoping to wake up and you're hoping to move. I literally felt like, again, that out of body sense of, this is bigger than me. I have to submit to it. I have to give into it in a healthy way. And I did. And let's see what comes of it. And then you're just, as I have my AirPods in, you're just narrating and voiceover and affirmations and that whole, I hope we get into it. I don't want to give a spoiler alert, but there was that moment of that golden door over your heart, man. And that, like, and then I come down from the crying, and then it was like right back up with the golden door. And I'm like, this is wild. This is wild. So then I'm laying there. The class is over. I can't even get up to like say goodbye. I'm still laying there like frozen, right?
Yeah.
I then crawl over to my side, give that about 5 minutes, get onto my knees, give that about 5 minutes. I'm slowly but surely like getting out of it. I walk into the other room to tell Shay. I open the door. She's like, what the hell? I just looked wrecked, like just completely wrecked. And she's like, what the hell happened? And I'm like, speechless. I don't even know what to tell you. She goes, I thought I heard you crying. I'm like, I was absolutely crying, and I was moved to this. And then we got into the whole, what we want to tell ourselves and give ourselves in that moment. And of course, she's at the forefront. My family's at the forefront. And bro, it was, when I am telling people in these texts and I'm telling people in the DMs, life-changing, that is still a significant understatement. I cannot express enough how powerful this was, how humble I felt, where sometimes I feel like a giant. I felt this small in the best way possible in life that night. And everything that I had to work through, I know was necessary. I felt so much lighter after, which is, I think, rare for me to feel. We always carry so much, and a lot of times as the book, the body keeps the score, our body holds on to way more trauma than our mind even can, right? And so I literally felt these releases just pouring out of me after one class. So I just wanted to share that. Again, I hope it didn't freak people out, but it was insane to say the least.
Dude, thank you for sharing that, Justin. And your experience really mirrors a lot of people's experience, not so much the physical stuff, but really the emotional release, where you're not thinking of like, this is what happened to me and this is what I'm crying about. You're just having this hysterical crying release because a lot of it's subconscious. It's repressed memories and emotions that have been stored there for years or decades that are now coming out to the surface. And it's such a powerful experience. And then when it comes to the breath work itself, just so people know, it is one of the safest things you can do. Like people can freak themselves out because it's intense.
Right. Totally.
It's intense. It can be a psychedelic experience, but you're in control of the journey. You're not doing ayahuasca in the jungle, so if it gets too intense, you could just slow down your breath and everything's going to be fine. You're laying on the ground. No one has ever in the history of humankind died from lying on the ground and breathing. Right. So you're fine. Like nothing bad can really happen. Like you said, you want to be in a safe space because you don't want to be disturbed or in a position where like you have to defend yourself. But as far as the physical sensations go, people, feel tingling sensations throughout their body. You might get a little cramping in your hands, totally normal, totally safe, totally fine. Goes away once you stop the breath work. And it's a really, just the emotional side, man, like you shared. It takes you to a level of gratitude that's hard to achieve in everyday consciousness. That's really, really powerful. And just a deeper level of love, man. And I've really, through all of my self-guided practices, as well as teaching this over the last several years, I've really kind of cultivated the guidance aspect, like you said. So for people listening in, just to give you kind of a play-by-play overview. You sign up for the class, and it's done lying down on like a yoga mat or a blanket. And I do a little intro, explain the technique, explain what to expect, explain what you have to look for and what to look out, what's going to basically happen, right? And then the class itself is a series of songs that I've very selectively chosen to really open up different states.
It's a great soundtrack, by the way. Great soundtrack.
Yeah, and it's different every class. So this one will be a little different for you, Justin.
Okay, cool.
I mix it up every class, but really hard opening songs, things that really bring about, a lot of emotions. And throughout the course of the music, I'm talking over the music, yelling all sorts of shit out, how to go deeper and, things that are going to elicit a lot of positive emotions and responses and release from people who are participating in the class. And then after the active portion is done, I do a guided visualization practice. And that's what you were describing with the golden heart, the golden door on your heart and, thinking back at certain times in your life and these really profound memories and experiences that I really try and open up for the people who are participating. And by the end, you're just like, what just happened? It's
for
amazing.
for days, bro. Like the next at least 3 to 4 days, I just remember trying to explain to people, and I'm like, I can't. I wish I could. You have to kind of, participate kind of thing. But let's get into it, Ryan. I know if there's anyone still kind of contemplating, the class and stuff. I see someone. So I joined late. Is the breathwork via Zoom? So yes, it's all via Zoom. Again, you're going to get that link once you sign up to your email. But let's just kind of give people just a little, pack your bag. You're going to breathwork class. Little list of things to bring to, to have ready for you.
Yeah. So if you sign up for the class, you'll get an email that'll have all these details, and you really don't need much. You just need a safe space, so a bedroom or some area of your house that you feel comfortable, and ideally some earphones or a speaker so that you can listen to the class journey. And I always tell people crank the volume because it helps you go deeper.
Yeah.
And something comfortable, comfortable to lay on, some comfortable clothes to wear. That's it. That's what, literally all you need. Like you don't, and just so people know, like you don't need any experience. If you have never done breath work in your entire life, this is for you. If you've done every type of breath work under the sun, then this is also for you, and everyone in between, because every experience is different too, Justin. And what you'll find when you participate and do the class on Thursday with your community is every time you do breath work, it brings you something different. And so different things will come up for you. There's times you might do breath work where maybe you won't break out and cry. Maybe you'll gain laser focused clarity on some challenging issue in your life or some decision that you've been tossing and turning about making.
Yeah.
It enables you to just get clear on what's important, what really matters. And that's a powerful, powerful thing in and of itself. And then other people will have, they'll break out in laughter and have tears of happiness and joy and just bliss and how just appreciative they are of life and to have their breath and to have the things in this world that so many of us take for granted, man.
Yeah.
So that's all you need if you sign up. You just show up and be ready to do the work for yourself.
Yeah.
The thing I tell everyone, Justin, it's called breath work. It's work. You got to work for it, man. You don't just lie there. I can't do the work for you. I could guide you through the practice, but you're the one that has to breathe.
Yeah.
And if you put in the work, you come in with an open mind and you give it your all, amazing things can happen.
Yeah. So
that's all it is.
We're going to hit the intention for this class would be about healing. So I just really quick, just to give everyone, because if someone's like, but is it still for me? I'm not down for the sleep paralysis thing. I wasn't
which
either.
is pretty rare, rare.
Yeah. I wasn't either, but I'm happy I went through it. But we're going to go through healing. That's the overall umbrella, the overall intention. If you want to just walk everyone through, Ryan, maybe what to not necessarily expect from their experience, but what you're going to be giving, throughout that particular intention and umbrella.
Well, like I mentioned, the music is going to be very much so catered to the intention of the class, to really healing, to letting go, to accepting and processing loss. And we all have loss, whether it's loss of a loved one, loss of a relationship, loss of a friendship, loss of a business or of a goal that we had in our lives. We all have loss in our lives. And so I'm going to be catering the music to that. And then a lot of my guidance, like I said, I yell all sorts of shit out during the breath work because I get really into it. Even though I'm just leading it, sometimes I'll start crying, dude. I'm not even doing the breath work.
Sure.
And I'll just pick up on all the emotions going around. And so I'll be saying a lot of things that are going to help kind of bring things to the surface in a really healthy way to help you process some of the things that you might be going through. And then as far as the other notes for the class, I think is important to highlight because a lot of people miss this, is they see the day, they see the time.
Please.
And they're like, I can't make it. I wish I could be there. And for this reason, every class I do, I give you instant access to the class recording. And so if you do the class on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, anytime, 24/7, you could do it anytime after the actual live event, you will be able to have the same experience. Right. You will have the same guidance, the same class, and you could do it at whatever time is suitable for you. So that's another important caveat. If it doesn't work with your time zone or you just are busy at that day and time, I would still encourage you to sign up and do the class the following day or the following weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because there's a lot of people like, I would love to make it, can't make it. And then it just told me you didn't read my text clearly. But so the link will be up for 4 days. I saw someone else asking how long is the class. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. Is that right?
So I tell people to carve out at least an hour because I'll do a little intro and, you know, I'm sure you'll share some words as well, Justin, before we get started to prep people for the class.
Totally.
The active portion of the breath work is about 25 to 30 minutes. And then I do this guided visualization, you know, for another 10, 15 minutes. So all in, you're under an hour, but you don't want to have like a work meeting like right after, you know, like keep your schedule pretty free after, guys, because
if possible,
you're going to want to do some integration. You're going to want to do some journaling like you did, Justin. Talk with a loved one afterwards. Reflect on your experience to really get the most out of it and to really be able to absorb some of the downloads you got.
Totally. I think that's a really good point, actually, Ryan. Two things. One is choose wisely who you come into contact with or who you speak to after the class. Correct me if I'm wrong at any point in time here, Ryan, but you're very open in a lot of different ways. And a lot of times you can receive things that you don't need to receive, or they could really, you know, take away from your energy that was from this class. So yeah, choose that person very wisely. And also, same thing with like a drunk text or a drunk phone call. Do not call or text someone that is, you know what I mean? That's not good for you. That's not what the class is about.
I tell everyone this, you know, at the end, I say your heart's going to be wide open.
Yeah.
Don't go arguing with people on Facebook about politics. You know, don't go calling any exes and, you know, trying to start up conversations that you shouldn't be having.
Correct.
Just be with yourself. I think journaling is a great practice. Going for a walk, just going for a walk outside, you know, with your thoughts. I think those are two ways to really do some good integration. And then, like you said, if you do talk to someone, make sure it's someone supportive that's a really positive influence in your life.
Yeah. So again, I went into, you know, our rooms. I went to and saw Shay, safe space. And then I also from there, I did a lot of voice journaling. The emotions wasn't going to come out. It was going to come out with the pen to pad, but I wanted to be able to hear it and always remember this. And I just was flowing with clarity, as you mentioned, is one thing people could get. So yeah, so I see someone saying, you know, I'll keep my journal next to me 100%, you know, and just look, I mean, this is your time to be as selfish as you want to be. This is your time to lock in. This is your time to set whatever intention you want to set. We're going off of healing. It doesn't necessarily have to, your intention could be clarity. Your intention could be forgiveness, whatever it needs to be. We just chose healing because, you know, we all primarily kind of need that. And, you know, again, just really be careful with who you have around you then thereafter. I saw someone up there earlier said that they're on their second week of COVID. Is this going to be okay? Which is a good question. I know the lungs right now are a concern for them.
So I can't really give any hard recommendations here. I would say just be smart, know yourself, know your body. If you can breathe fine, you're probably going to be fine. Talk to your doctor. You know, I don't want to bring in any liability to the equation by telling someone, oh yeah, you're going to be fine. But in reality, just know, can you do heavy breathing and feel fine? And the thing about breath work is if you feel uncomfortable or if it feels too intense or if it's not going as you thought, you just stop the breath work.
Right.
And then everything normalizes and you're totally fine. Like I said, you're not taking any drugs. You're not like taking compounds that alter your chemistry. You're using your own supply. And when you do that, you control this journey. So if you were to participate in the breath work and for whatever reason, you're like, I don't know, feeling shortness of breath, whatever, just start breathing through your nose. And within a couple minutes, everything's going to be back to normal.
Yeah. So speaking of the breathing, Ryan, you have a way better rhythmic way of demonstrating. If you can, for the people, just so they know what to expect and how to breathe, because I will be honest, and I'm just an overthinker, but when you first started the class and you were demonstrating how to breathe, I was like, wait, is this right? And I was kind of off rhythm. I got it eventually, but maybe just for people who, again, who've never done this before and who are still sitting there thinking, I don't get it. I'm just going to be laying there breathing. What's the catch?
Yeah. So what I tell everyone, Justin, is don't overthink the technique. If you're breathing, you're going to be just fine. Like you're going to rock it. Yeah. Cause we all try and like have this perfectionism. Like, oh, did I do a big enough inhale? Was that my exhale too forced? Oh, fuck. And it's like, just breathe, lean into the experience, give it your all. You'll be fine. Yeah. But as far as the technique itself, it's a 3-part conscious connected breath. And so what you're doing is it's all in and out through the mouth. And just for some context, I teach people about proper breathing mechanics every day in my practice, because proper breathing mechanics is the foundation to good health. And every day, we should always strive to always breathe through our nose. There's great books by James Nestor called Breath. I've had him on my podcast. There's great books by Patrick McEwen called The Oxygen Advantage. And the basic premise is we should always focus on slow nasal breathing throughout the day while we're sleeping, because this oxygenates the body better. It innervates the parasympathetic nervous system, and it has tremendous benefits to our health. And chronic mouth breathing is no bueno for our general health. But when we're doing focused, controlled breath work, it's a different story. This is all in and out through the mouth, because we want to bring as much air in as we can. And so the breath is really 2-part inhale followed by 1-part exhale. And so you try and keep the breath very rhythmic. And I do explain this in much more depth, and in the class, like you've witnessed, Justin, I'm in my office and I set up like my bench behind the desk, and I actually go on the bench and I'm lying down and I'm showing everyone the actual technique. So I talk everyone through it. But the idea is just breathing in through your mouth into your belly, taking a second immediate breath afterwards into your chest, and then letting the exhale just fall away. And then you repeat. So as soon as you finish that belly breath, you start the chest breath. As soon as you finish that chest breath, you start the exhale. As soon as you finish that exhale, you come back to the belly breath. So here's what it would almost look like in real time. Let me see if I can kind of get up here a little bit for you. It would look kind of like this. And a lot of people that have never done breath work are like, man, I don't know if I'm doing it right. Oh, chest, belly, chest. Oh, fuck, I'm messing it up. I'm messing it up. And it's like, it does not matter. The bottom line is you breathe in as much air as you can. You let the exhale fall away. That's it. And I always tell everyone, you do 100% of the work on the inhale. You show up for yourself and you breathe in deep. And on the exhale, you just surrender. You let it fall away. And if you do that, you're going to have a great experience.
Yeah.
And so the class will definitely have a little more instruction on that and some more guidance. And I talk people through it as we're going through the breath work and all that sort of stuff. But that's a basic overview. And what's happening, just for anyone like myself that likes to geek out on the science of it, when you're doing this breath work and you're hyper oxygenating the body and breathing like this, you're altering your O2 CO2 ratios. And what this does is it does many things in the body. You know, people talk about how it alkalizes the body and has all these benefits. I'm not so sure about that stuff. While it does alkalize the body, I'm not sure that's really where the benefits are derived. What it does in the mind is where the benefits are derived. And in the mind, it does this thing called transient hyperfrontality. And that's a very fancy way of saying it's slowing down the overactivation of your frontal lobe. Your frontal lobe is your monkey mind, your ego. That's the part of your brain that prevents you from going deeper, from processing loss, from crying. It's the part of your brain that has all that mental chatter of your limiting beliefs and that you can't do this or that, and that, you know, this or that is the only way to do things. And when you slow down that monkey mind, you quiet that ego, it allows for you to go deeper into your heart. It allows for you to go deeper into your emotions and actually dig up some things in your subconscious. And that is what many people refer to as flow state. When you have this transient hyperfrontality, when you're in a state of presence, you're in a state of flow. And I'm sure you can speak on this, Justin. When I'm doing the guided visualization, you're not having to quiet the mind. You're not having to like muster through a meditation practice like you probably do in the mornings. You know, you're not like, God, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to have for dinner later? None of that's there. It's total stillness, total tranquility, and you're truly present. And that is hard to achieve. Unless you're a monk that's meditating 15 hours a day, that is very hard to achieve. But you know, the fast track to achieving that state that we all seek, whether we're aware of it or not, the fast track is breath work.
Yeah. So well said. And I was thinking, you know, about in that flow state, I didn't have any thought. I wasn't fighting any thought. I wasn't thinking about what I was going to eat. I didn't know if I was hungry. It was just a matter of letting go and really, again, giving in and giving all the control up, which I think we all need more of and at times. Totally. And so, I'm just so excited for everyone who signed up, who's looking for this kind of work. As you said, it is breath work. You know, and I love that you said too, you know, every class can be different. Every experience can be different. I'm looking forward to my experience on Thursday, whatever should come of it. And I will say too, you know, for people who are like, well, I have plans Thursday night, or let's just say something like that, or like how many hours should I block off after the class? You know, again, everyone's situation is different. I know for me, I prefer to do it at night because I was also exhausted. I think the class ended at like 6:30. I was good to go to bed for the rest of the night after the class.
Yeah.
I was that wiped. So, but I also know I had someone else who also took it that day, and they did it in the morning, and they said it was a little bit of a slower start, but they were ended up, you know, getting the day in. But yeah, I mean,
one thing I'll share on that, Justin, is I've had reports from so many of my patients that have done my breathwork classes tell me they had the greatest night of sleep of their lives. And, you know, like I track my sleep with like an Oura ring. A lot of the people I work with in my practice, a lot of my patients track their sleep and look at their REM cycles and their deep cycles and all this. And they'll send me the screenshot of their sleep stats. Like, Ryan, this is like a sleep hack, dude. Like I got such good rest. And I personally like to do it in the morning. I love doing the class in the morning because I feel so crystal clear the whole day. And because I generate a lot of flow and a lot of ideas and a lot of creative energy, Justin, after the class, and it's different every class, of course. Sometimes I'm just bawling my eyes out and I'm ready to just like curl up and go to sleep. Most of the time, though, I'm creating so many ideas and getting clarity on so many things and visions, and just everything's clicking that after I'm done with the class, I want to get to work, baby. Like I want to get this stuff in motion. I want to start taking action. I want to write all these things down that came to me, all these ideas that, you know, for my business and for my relationships and people I want to call. And I got to call up my buddy from 10 years ago and tell him that I love him because I haven't talked to him in so long. And I want to call up my brother and say, I'm sorry for this or that. And that, you know, things of that nature really come to me. And it, because of that, I love to do it in the morning because I just spend like the whole, you know, following several hours just totally immersed in taking action on what downloads I got from the class.
For sure. And that's, again, just to the point of everyone's experience is different, right? Who knows, after this class I may have energy. And maybe I'll do it again in the morning because, again, the link will be up for 4 days. So if anyone has any other questions, Ryan, I don't know how much time you have, but
a couple of things I want to share on. Someone asked if it's a live class or that if it's something that's pre-recorded. It is both, folks. So you come live if you can. If you can't make it live, or even if you make it live, you still get access to the recording. So there's no way to miss the class. The one thing I want to end on here, Justin, for anyone listening in that is going through any type of financial hardship. I know this year and last year, you know, it's been really tough for a lot of people. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people have been in tough times financially. I don't want a lack of funds to prevent anyone from experiencing this class. So if you hear this and you're like, this looks great, and you go to sign up, you're like, hey, I don't really want to pay for this class. Money's tight. Send me a message. Send Justin a message. We will get you free access because no one will be left out of this class due to a lack of finances. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Appreciate that too. Well, again, Ryan, if you have to go, I can hang out here for a little bit. No worries. If anyone has any other questions, any other thoughts, comments, concerns, again, it's going to be Thursday at 5:30 Pacific time. If you can't make it, there's a live recording. You'll have that for 4 days. So I guess so then Sunday, 5:30 Pacific time, is that kind of the expiration, give or take, Ryan?
We'll leave it open through Monday. We'll leave it open through Monday.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Great.
Again, if you sign up for the class and your weekend just takes a complete 180 and you don't do it, send me a message. I'm going to give you access. Like, no one's going to miss this class. And so if you send me a message a month from now and you're like, hey, Ryan, I missed the class. Can you help me out here? I got your back. Like, my whole goal with this, Justin, is to share this practice with as many people as possible. So I like to put a timeline on the recording only to create urgency for people to do it. Because if I say it's available for life, people are going to be like, oh, I'll do it next week. Oh, next month. Oh, I never got to that. Then they forget about it, right?
For sure.
So because of that, I'm like, okay, you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Get it in, folks. And then if you, for whatever reason, life happens, you can't make it, let me know, and you will absolutely still have access whenever you need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when this gets done, I'll save this live for everybody. I'm also going to put in my story the link if someone's still interested in signing up. we will make sure all the info is up there. And then again, if you still want more information, once you register for the class, you're going to get more information than you need, again, because otherwise you'll start to overthink it and you won't do it, which we don't want. So at the end of the day, you know, with this class, and here's something that I actually had to tell myself too. You know, one of my favorite quotes is comfort and growth cannot coexist. And this was something that I was completely out of my comfort zone with. And I just knew, you know what, I have nothing to lose, everything to gain. And I really feel like I can grow from this, you know, and I had to take that leap. And I'm really glad I did. So if anyone's just, you know, laying in the comfort bed or just really just not trying to make the necessary changes, then, you know, I hear you, but at the end of the day, you're going to still be in the same boat. So I think something like this is such a great, you know, because I'm also interested in ayahuasca and some other, you know, plant-based medicine techniques. This is the safest start that you can have to any of those realms of healing and that type of exposure.
And one note on that is I've had more people than I can count, Justin. Like I'm talking well over a dozen students who have come to me after this class, who have done ayahuasca in Peru, who have done, you know, all sorts of different plant medicine ceremonies, with chumba, done peyote, have done all sorts of different psychedelics. Mm-hmm. And after doing this class, they said it was as powerful, if not more powerful, than some of these really intense psychedelic journeys and ceremonies that they've done. So it just speaks to the efficacy and the safety. And you really, like you said, man, you got nothing to lose. If someone takes this class and for whatever reason, their socks are not blown straight off, they're not just like, mind blown, you let me know, I will refund all of the money. Like I'm not, like, I'm happy to do that because I really want everyone to go into this realizing that they have only things to gain from this experience.
For sure. 100%. I can't even imagine someone not having, that's impossible. It's unless they just, I don't even know. That's impossible. I can't even think of the scenario.
Well, no, so there is a scenario. I don't want to sound like there's like 100% guarantee because it is true. Some people come in, they're not quite ready for it. And also some people get freaked out by the physical sensations. So they stop the breathing and other people have such strong mental blocks. You know, Justin, you've done so much work on yourself. You've done so much where you've already opened up before you came to this breath work. And sometimes people come, they're so blocked off that their monkey mind, before they get into the breath work, I'm talking the first 5 minutes, they haven't even given it a chance. They quit. They quit because it's like, oh, this doesn't work. I've done it. I've been breathing for 90 seconds. I'm not a changed man.
Right.
This is a bunch of hogwash. And so sometimes that does happen. So that's why I tell everyone at the beginning, I really try and hype people up and tell them, like, give it your all, go through the whole class. A lot of people hit their breakthrough towards the end of the class, not at the beginning. At the beginning, you're doing all the hard work. At the end, you reap all the benefits.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, it's going to be a journey. I'm super excited. I really feel, because now I know like what to expect, right? I know like we're going to go into battle. And in the best way possible. We're going to go into battle. We're going to dig deep. We're going to roll up our sleeves, get in the mud, and figure some shit out that needed to be figured out a long time ago. Better late than never. Here we are. Again, this is a safe space. I guess I take for granted the work that I've already done, and I'm still going to give it 100% guarantee. I don't know how someone cannot be impacted by this. I swear, it's just. It's something that I can't say enough about, and I've done a lot of different work. So hopefully that, you know, that says a lot. And I will attest to the 7 to 10 years of therapy in one session. Again, this was the second biggest wave of emotion I've ever had in my life after the birth of my only child. I mean, that should say it all. So I'm just really excited for everyone, and I can't wait to hear everyone else's experience thereafter. I'll let you get out of here, Ryan. I know you're a busy guy. I'm going to stick around a little bit. I haven't been live in a while, so I'll get back to the people. But thanks for your time, man. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited for Thursday. I can't wait. And again, if anyone has any more questions about the breathing and stuff, Ryan is probably your man, as you'll be able to give better answers. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have questions about the class, if you have questions about any aspect of the breath work. I'm more than happy to give you some answers. But like Justin said, you don't have to know every single detail. You just got to show up. You show up. That's
that's the hardest part, is
That's
showing
it.
up for yourself, is committing to saying, I'm ready for a breakthrough. I'm ready to let go of past bullshit. I'm ready to quit dragging around these past emotions and this dead weight. And I'm ready for a breakthrough. I'm ready to tap into my true potential. And if you come in with that mindset, I'll take care of the rest.
For sure. For sure. And if anyone's part of my community, just know I would never ask you to do anything I'm not personally willing to do. So I'm going to be in the trenches with you. I'm going to give a little bit of a spiel here in the beginning of the class on Thursday, but I'm going to be laying down and doing my own work as well. So it's not just like, what the hell is Justin doing? And I'm in it. I'm in it, and I'm taking it seriously. So I will add, the only thing you also need to bring into class is an open mind.
Yep.
That is 100% a necessity in order for you to get out, what is probably going to be necessary for you to release and to heal and to learn from. Other than that, close the door, AirPods. Also, Ryan, you gave me the tip of, I put a hand towel over my eyes.
Or like an eye mask, like you use for sleeping.
Totally.
It allows you to go deeper. Yeah, it allows you to go deeper.
That really helped. Yeah, totally.
And then I give a bunch of other info if you sign up, things to expect going into it. Like, be sure to, hit the bathroom before. You don't want a full bladder during this breath work. Yeah. Little things like that I included in the pre-class instructions. Yeah. And then one more thing I'll mention, Justin, on the whole experience and how this is going to be extra special for your community, because I am beyond grateful to share this with your audience and your community and people who have, I get a lot of people who come to every class I do. So it's always an honor to share it with people who are brand new to breathwork. And so one thing I want to do that I haven't even chatted with you about, Justin, on this specific class is I'd like to have like a sharing circle at the end, because it really allows people an opportunity to share about their experience, which oftentimes opens the door for other people to feel comfortable to share. So I'll plan to stick around for 15, 20 minutes after the class is over, where we'll kind of go around, and anyone that wants to share what came up for them, share how they feel, share how their experience was, and then I could always provide any insights or support on awesome. Where people are at.
Yeah, I love it. I just thought to myself, if that was the case when I took the class, I don't even know if I could have talked when I got done. But I hope people are energized enough and have some left in the tank to share, because it's who can relate, right? It's who can relate to this type of experience, and I think that's going to be awesome, because not everyone's going to be in there feeling like they're alone. I know it kind of, you isolate yourself because you're locked in. You got the mask on your eyes, you got your AirPods, and the music's going, you're breathing. You kind of feel like it's just me. But just know there's going to be a lot of people in that class with you and supporting you. And we're all on the same page, which is we're trying to get better. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah. 100%, dude. Well, thank you again, Justin. Awesome, I have nothing but love and gratitude for you, brother.
Likewise. Thanks so much, but I'll see you on Thursday.
All right. See you Thursday.
Cool. See ya.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you found it helpful, please share it along to anyone else you believe it can serve. You can submit your own question to be answered on the show by going to ryankennedyhealth.com/podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review for the show. Your feedback helps to support me on my mission to positively impact as many people as possible with this information. Please note, the information depicted in this episode is purely for informational purposes only. Please consult your healthcare professional before making any changes to your lifestyle or routine.